A disobedient son's deadly scheme for insurance money. A story of intertwined fates. This gripping tale of desperation and greed unfolds like a domino effect, where one seemingly insignificant act triggers a chain of events with devastating consequences. It all begins with a man bound and trapped inside a deserted building, set ablaze by someone intending to silence him forever. The fire quickly escalates into an inferno, fueled by exploding gas cylinders. Amidst the chaos, the fire captain discovers a charred body, seemingly a victim of the blaze. But just when hope seems lost, a flicker of life is detected, and the barely alive victim is rushed to the hospital. Despite the doctor's best efforts, the man's burns are severe, especially on his face, leaving him scarred beyond recognition. His lungs, ravaged by smoke inhalation, struggle to function, and his voice is a mere rasp. When the doctor asks for his name, the man manages to utter a name that sends chills down Dr. Ji-yeon's spine. It's a name that has haunted her nightmares. 15 days earlier, we meet Jae-young, a young man drowning in debt after a failed attempt to strike it rich in the stock market. He owes loan sharks a staggering 130 million won. His creditors, tired of unanswered calls, visit him, delivering a chilling message. Unpaid debts are settled with organs in this business. They take him to a slaughterhouse as a stark warning. He has 30 days to pay up, or they'll take whatever they can from his body. Jae-young works at a wholesale distribution center. One day, he witnesses the dismissal of Gil Ryong, a Korean Chinese worker. Gil Ryong, desperate to keep his job, pulls a knife on the manager, shocking Jae-young. Later, an online search of Gil Ryong's distinctive tattoos reveals a disturbing truth. He's a hardened gangster. Amidst this chaos, Jae-young receives a call from his father, who has been hospitalized after a traffic accident. Rushing to the hospital, Jae-young is met by the driver who hit his father. The driver claims it was a minor accident and pleads with Jae-young to settle privately. Avoiding insurance involvement, he offers Jae-young an envelope containing 5 million won. Jae-young pockets 2 million and gives the remaining 3 million to his father, pretending the driver is an acquaintance and urging him to drop the matter. Just as the driver is about to leave, relieved, Jae-young stops him. Having caught the scent of alcohol on his breath, he extorts another 3 million won from the terrified driver, realizing how easily money can be made. Returning home to gather clothes for his father, Jae-young searches for valuables to sell. He discovers a Rolex watch, cash, and a life insurance policy. The policy reveals a payout of 500 million won to the indirect heir in the event of accidental death or death due to illness. A sinister idea begins to take root in Jae-young's mind, setting the stage for a tragic series of events that will claim 7 lives. This is just the beginning of a web of deceit, betrayal, and unexpected consequences. Jae-young's greed and a series of bad decisions. Jae-young lamented, thinking if only the driver had hit his father harder, the 500 million won insurance payout would be his instantly. Waiting for his father to die naturally felt like an eternity. Frustration gnawed at him. Just then, 3 high school students from Guho High approached him, asking him to buy them cigarettes. Already on edge, he snapped at them, cursing and throwing a pebble, sending the teenagers scattering. On his way to the hospital, he stopped by the church to supposedly donate money for his father. As he turned into a quiet alley, the 3 students from earlier ambushed him, attacking from behind. They stole his cigarettes and tried to grab his Rolex, but Jae-young clung to it desperately, resulting in a brutal beating. The teenagers left him lying there, bruised and battered. He woke up the next day in the hospital, having been found by a patrolling police officer. His father berated the police for their slow response, but the lack of security cameras and witnesses in the secluded alley made it difficult to investigate. The police asked Jae-young for a description of his attackers, but he dismissed them, feigning disinterest. However, as he left the hospital, the officer's words sparked a dangerous idea in his mind. That night, Jae-young met Gil Ryong at a junkyard. He made a proposition, murder for hire. He offered Gil Ryong 60 million won to kill his father. He explained that his father would be attending church at Guho on Friday and would walk through a deserted alley with no security cameras. The perfect location for the hit. He stressed that it needed to look like an accident, a hit and run. He told Gil Ryong the insurance payout was 200 million won and offered him a 30% cut. To solidify the deal, Jae-young recorded their entire conversation and gave the recording to Gil Ryong. They agreed not to contact each other until after the deed was done. However, the next day, Gil Ryong showed up at the hospital. He had discovered the insurance payout was actually 500 million won, not 200 million, and demanded his cut be adjusted to 150 million won. He made it clear, no deal unless Jae-young agreed. Feigning reluctance, Jae Young agreed to the new terms, telling Gil Ryong to do a good job. But as Gil Ryong left, Jae Young muttered to himself that he had no intention of paying him that much, calling him a derogatory term for Chinese people. He then set about creating an alibi. That evening, he invited a coworker to dinner, planning to go to a bar afterward. However, his coworker had to leave early. Jae Young went to a karaoke bar alone, showering 2 women with attention and money, making sure they remembered him. It was still early, so he went to a fast food restaurant, ordered a meal, and deliberately sat in front of the security camera, making eye contact with the staff to ensure he was seen. Meanwhile, as Jae Young's father walked home, a car suddenly appeared, striking him head-on. Gil Ryong got out to check if he was dead. Jae Young fell asleep and woke to find the rain had stopped. He returned home, anxiously awaiting Gil Ryong's call, which never came. It wasn't until the next afternoon that he received a call, but it wasn't from Gil Ryong. It was the police. The unraveling of Jae Young's plan. The news of his father's death almost made Jae Young laugh out loud. Finally, he thought. He excused himself to the restroom to practice his fake crying, trying to conjure the most convincing display of grief. He then performed this act upon receiving his father's body, his face contorted in a mask of sorrow, though initially tearless. A few drops finally squeezed out, making the performance slightly more believable. The police informed him that his father appeared to be a victim of a hit and run, but they suspected foul play. A witness had reported that the driver not only hit his father, but reversed and hit him again, suggesting intentional homicide. What witness? Jae Young thought, panicking. Just then, a woman from the church entered. She explained that she had witnessed the incident and was calling the police when the driver got out of the car and chased her. Terrified, she ran, but the darkness obscured the driver's face. Jae Young's carefully constructed plan began to crumble around him. He tried to convince the police that his father was a peaceful man, with no enemies who would want him dead. He insisted it was just a tragic accident, but the police dropped another bombshell. His father's body had been found buried on a mountain. This eliminated the possibility of a simple hit and run. Now, Jae Young's tears were real, his grief genuine. He wailed, cursing the clever driver for burying his father. He hadn't anticipated this complication. Meanwhile, at an upscale restaurant, Sang-hun, the director of a Korean medicine clinic, dined with his girlfriend, Yoo Jong. After dinner, he suggested dessert, but Yoo Jong playfully declined, saying she only craved him. They drove up to his mountainside villa, Oasis, for a romantic getaway. Before their rendezvous, Sang-hun took some medication, presumably for performance enhancement, which came with a warning against consuming alcohol for 3 hours. Yoo Jong, however, playfully fed him alcohol, leading to an intoxicating night. In the middle of the night, Yoo Jong received news of her best friend's father's passing. Sang-hun, still under the influence of alcohol and medication, offered to call a taxi, but Yoo Jong's pouty reaction convinced him to drive her. He figured the roads would be empty at that hour. On the drive, noticing Sang-hun's drowsiness, Yoo Jong apologized for her earlier behavior and complimented his prowess. Then, to wake him up, she initiated sexual contact while he was driving. Startled and aroused, Sang-hun momentarily lost control of the car, striking a pedestrian. Horrified, they rushed to the victim, who was clearly dead. Yoo Jong reached for her phone to call emergency services, but Sang-hun stopped her, panicked. He was drunk, driving, and now involved in a fatal accident. If this got out, his life would be ruined. He frantically blamed Yoo Jong for pressuring him to drive, and for giving him alcohol despite his medication. His carefully constructed life was about to come crashing down. A desperate cover-up, and an unlikely witness. Just as Sang-hun and Yoo Jong were panicking, headlights appeared. They quickly dragged the body to the side of the road, trying to appear nonchalant. The approaching car slowed, then reversed. The driver asked if they were okay. Sang-hun lied, saying they had skidded but had already called their insurance, urging the driver to move along. Before leaving, the driver subtly pointed out Sang-hun's open flight and asked about nearby accommodations. Normally, Sang-hun would have been mortified, but this was the least of his worries. As the car drove off, the driver, in a chillingly calm voice, asked his passenger if she had gotten a picture. He confirmed the victim's identity. Sang-hun knew they couldn't just stand there. Sooner or later, another car would pass, or daylight would expose them. He decided they had to bury the body, figuring no one would miss a homeless person. Yoo Jong protested, horrified by the idea. They argued, but their quarrel was interrupted by a figure emerging from the shadows. A man on a bicycle had witnessed the incident. He pretended not to notice them, and began to pedal away furiously. Sang-hun, desperate to eliminate any witnesses, chased after the cyclist and tackled him, resulting in a head injury. The cyclist was unconscious, but still breathing. Sang-hun placed him next to the dead body and began searching for a burial site. The steep climb up the mountain roused the cyclist, who started banging on the car door, pleading for help. Sang-hun silenced him with a punch, threatening him further. The cyclist begged to be let go, promising silence. After venting his rage, Sang-hun had a chilling idea. He demanded the cyclist's bank account number and transferred 10 million won. He explained that by accepting the money, the cyclist was now an accomplice. If anyone found out, they would both go down. And as accomplices, they would bury the body together. Yu Zhong watched in disgust as the two men dragged the body away. They found a relatively soft patch of earth, and Sang-hun started digging. He barked at the cyclist to help. Impatient, he threw down the shovel and started digging with his bare hands, cutting himself on a rock. After hours of grueling work, they finally dug a shallow grave and buried the body. Back at the car, the cyclist, emboldened, demanded another 10 million won. Sang-hun, gritting his teeth, agreed to transfer 20 million more just to be done with it. As they drove away, unaware, a stray dog watched from the trees, having witnessed the entire gruesome scene. The next morning, a woman jogging on the mountain stumbled upon the dog, barking excitedly while gnawing at something. As the dog moved, she saw the partially buried body. Sang-hun's hasty burial had failed. Sang-hun dropped Yu Zhong off, telling her not to worry and that he would handle everything. As the cyclist reminded him about the money transfer, the net began to close in. The walls close in. After the transfer, Sang-hun had a mere 3 million won left in his account. Back at his car, he retrieved the memory card from the dashcam before driving to a repair shop. The 5 million won repair bill nearly gave him a heart attack. He disposed of his blood-stained clothes and golf club, then hurried back to his soul clinic, oblivious to the two figures tailing him, the same pair from the previous night. He texted Yu Zhong an apology and a vague promise of money, but she didn't reply for over a day. Finally, she responded, saying she would take a cut after he received the insurance money. He was relieved by her compliance, blaming her for the whole ordeal, his hand throbbing. Sang-hun asked his nurse to hold off on patients. As he disinfected his wound, the cyclist walked in, flashing a servile grin. He had found Sang-hun's clinic through the business card left in the car. Now, he claimed 30 million won wasn't enough for taking a life, demanding another 30 million. Meanwhile, Jae-young's fake crying practice in the restroom hadn't gone unnoticed. Detective Ji-hun, in the next stall, grew suspicious. He questioned Jae-young about his whereabouts during the time of the incident. Jae-young, prepared, calmly recounted his alibi, dinner with a friend, karaoke, and a late-night stop at Lotteria. The two karaoke hostesses confirmed his presence, though they noted he didn't sing, just chatted and tipped generously. The Lotteria employee also recognized him instantly from a photo. At the insurance company, Jae-young grew impatient while waiting for the payout. The claims adjuster apologized for the delay, explaining the case was under review. He recognized Jae-young from the accident scene photos. He revealed that their internal investigation and the police report suggested the possibility of intentional homicide for insurance money, making immediate payment difficult. Jae-young, feigning shock, denied any such intention. The thought of not getting the money immediately enraged him. He lashed out at the adjuster, accusing him of making things difficult. The adjuster calmly explained that his outburst would only slow down the process. Realizing his mistake, Jae-young switched tactics, apologizing profusely, blaming his grief for his outburst, and pleading for expediency. As Jae-young left, Detective Ji-hun entered the insurance company, inquiring about the claim. With only 16 days left to repay his debt, Jae-young grew increasingly anxious. When the funeral home employee arrived to collect the deposit, Jae-young offered him the donations collected at the funeral. His aunt, witnessing this, sighed, lamenting her brother's misfortune of having such a despicable son. The walls were closing in on Jae-young from all sides. A desperate gamble and a shocking discovery. Jae-young's aunt told him he had a visitor. It was Gil Ryong, who had been trying to reach Jae-young unsuccessfully. He'd come to the funeral to collect his payment. Jae-young exploded, berating Gil Ryong for making him a suspect. By burying the body on the mountain, Gil Ryong retorted that Jae-young's father was still alive and had seen his face. He argued that while the job had unexpected complications, the payment remained unchanged. He demanded his money, threatening violence. He punched Jae-young and played the incriminating recording. Gil Ryong gave Jae-young 1 week to pay up or face consequences. Detective Ji-hun, observing from a distance, followed Gil Ryong as he left. Seizing an opportunity, Ji-hun snuck into Gil Ryong's junkyard, searching for the recording. Gil Ryong, sensing he was being followed, returned. Ji-hun barely managed to escape with the recording before being discovered. As he left the junkyard, he ran into Gil Ryong, who feigned a request for a lighter. Ji-hun tried to act naturally, but his fear was palpable. He claimed he was looking for car parts, but was leaving since the junkyard appeared closed. Gil Ryong returned the lighter and then suddenly attacked. Finding the recorder in Ji-hun's pocket, he assumed Ji-hun was working for Jae-young. He pushed Ji-hun to the ground and strangled him with a rope. Later, checking Ji-hun's wallet, he discovered he was a police officer. Unfortunately for Gil Ryong, the entire incident was captured on a security camera. Back home, Jae-young received a chilling text from Gil Ryong. He had killed a cop and needed the money immediately to flee to China. Panicked, Jae-young, who had no money, was threatened with sharing his father's fate. Suddenly, a strange calm washed over Jae-young. He had nothing left to lose. He decided to gamble. Let me avenge my father. Meanwhile, Sang-hun was exasperated. Every time he thought he was free, the cyclist appeared, demanding more money. He promised to send more money that week, insisting it was all he had. The cyclist cheerfully thanked him and encouraged him to keep up the good work. Oblivious to Sang-hun's inner turmoil, the auto repair shop called. They told Sang-hun the damage was more extensive than initially thought, suggesting a major impact. He lied, saying he hit a water tank. The mechanic questioned this, pointing out that the front bumper should be damaged, not the roof, which was dented. This innocent comment jolted Sang-hun's memory. He raced to the dump site to retrieve the bag he had discarded. Thankfully, the dashcam memory card was still in the jacket pocket. Reviewing the footage, he finally saw what truly happened. The man had fallen from above, not walked into the road. But how? He noticed a figure on the pedestrian overpass in the footage. Zooming in, he recognized the cyclist. The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a horrifying truth, betrayal and a twisted turn of events. Sang-hun immediately called Yu Jong, recounting the cyclist's extortion and his shocking discovery. He planned to report the cyclist for blackmail and extortion. He'd claim he only drove under the influence and didn't kill anyone, and that the cyclist coerced him into burying the body. A doctor's testimony would surely hold more weight than a murderer's. Yu Jong agreed to corroborate his story and act as his character witness. Relieved, Sang-hun arranged to meet Yu Jong at a parking garage to show her the dashcam footage. Yu Jong insisted they use her car, expressing discomfort with his. After watching the video, Yu Jong dropped her charade. Lighting a cigarette, she nonchalantly asked how the cyclist knew their route. Sang-hun chalked it up to bad luck, as only the two of them knew where they were going that night. His words hung in the air as realization dawned on him. Something was terribly wrong. Yu Jong blew smoke in his face, mocking his whining and begging. She ridiculed his appearance and showed him her phone, filled with messages from wealthy men vying for her attention. Why, she sneered, would she bother with someone like him? Enraged, Sang-hun grabbed her throat. She retorted that he was nothing but a fake, referring to her cosmetic enhancements. As they struggled, the cyclist appeared, revealing the setup. Too late, Sang-hun realized he had been played. They tied him up and debated where to dispose of him. Deciding against returning to the mountain, the cyclist instructed Yu Jong to drive to another location. She understood immediately. Unbeknownst to them, Sang-hun's two tails were still watching, following Yu Jong's car as it led them towards Guho. The cyclist directed Yu Jong to an abandoned building, a place they frequented in their youth. He ordered her to help him dig, emphasizing the need for a bigger hole this time. As Yu Jong lazily dug while the cyclist critiqued her work, Sang-hun regained consciousness. Seeing Yu Jong laughing and smoking, a single thought consumed him: revenge. He slammed his foot on the accelerator, driving straight at her. The cyclist dove into the hole just in time, but Yu Jong, caught completely off guard, was struck and killed. Sang-hun, consumed by rage, got out of the car and berated her lifeless body, forgetting the cyclist's presence. He quickly turned to the cyclist, begging for mercy, offering him another 50 million won. The cyclist scoffed, unmoved by his pleas. No matter what Sang-hun offered, his fate was sealed. From the rooftop, the two mysterious figures documented the entire scene. That night, the cyclist had to widen the grave to accommodate two bodies. The web of deceit and betrayal had claimed another victim. The past resurfaces. In high school, Yu Jong was the school's representative face, until Ju Yan took her spot. Feigning friendship, Yu Jong invited Ju Yan to a blind date, taunting her into accepting by calling her a loser if she refused. That night, Ju Yan was gang raped. Years later, now a successful neurosurgeon, Ju Yan still suffered from nightmares. On the day of the fire, While attending to a demanding patient, she was approached by Cheol Mok, a kind man who offered his help if she ever needed it. Moments later, she was called to the ER to attend to the severely burned patient from the fire. The man's name sent her into a state of shock, leaving her distracted and withdrawn. Her colleague, Jong Min, noticed her distress, but she brushed off his concern, growing increasingly agitated by his questions. That night, Ju Yan snuck into the hospital records room, but was interrupted by Jong Min. She claimed she was just reviewing some files. Jong Min received a phone call and had to leave, telling her to let him know if she needed anything. The next day, Ju Yan visited Cheol Mok's private investigation agency. Cheol Mok, a former police officer with extensive connections, agreed to help her locate 3 individuals, accepting her payment of 5 million won. As she left, the couple tailing Sang Hun arrived. They were Cheol Mok's employees, their surveillance of another client's request. Cheol Mok assured them he would handle Ju Yan's request separately. He contacted his former colleague, Detective Kang, to obtain information on the 3 individuals. Among the files was a report on a disturbing sexual assault case from years ago. One of the attackers was Jae Young, and the victim was Ju Yan. According to the report, Ju Yan had gone on a blind date with Jae Young at the Dandelion Cafe. He arrived late, and they went for a walk, where he held her hand, leaving her flattered. As they walked in the dark, 2 masked figures attacked, beating Jae Young and knocking Ju Yan unconscious. Later, the police identified the suspects and asked Ju Yan to identify them. She was stunned to see Jae Young among them, initially believing it was a mistake. Then, the police revealed the devastating truth. Jae Young was the mastermind behind the attack. The past that had haunted Ju Yan for so long had finally resurfaced. A confrontation and a chilling encounter. Cheol Mok's report revealed that 2 of the attackers from Ju Yan's past were dead. One had died in prison 3 years prior, the other from a drug overdose the previous year. Cheol Mok shuddered, remarking on the apparent karmic retribution. Jae Young, the remaining attacker, was reportedly living a reclusive life in Paju. The next morning, Cheol Mok called with a correction. Jae Young was currently a patient in Ju Yan's hospital, the burn victim in room 402. Ju Yan rushed to confront him. However, the face beneath the bandages wasn't Jae Young, but the cyclist. Why was he impersonating Jae Young? What had happened? The cyclist, gazing at his ruined reflection, let out a chillingly satisfied laugh. As Ju Yan lingered outside the room, Detective Kang arrived to question the patient. The cyclist fabricated a story of being kidnapped, attacked, and waking up tied inside the burning building. He claimed to have witnessed 2 men fighting before one of them started a fire. Detective Kang requested the patient's fingerprints for identification, but his fingers were too badly burned. Meanwhile, Ju Yan was plagued by a recurring nightmare, confronting Jae Young and exacting revenge for the trauma he inflicted. Sensing the hospital was no longer safe, the cyclist requested discharge and a month's supply of painkillers. Ju Yan followed him, just as someone reported the patient's clothes missing. She caught up to him at the elevator. She asked if he remembered her, but the cyclist, not being Jae Young, couldn't. He beckoned her into the elevator and, in a chillingly close encounter, warned her against pretending to know him. He told her the Jae Young she knew no longer existed. Undeterred, Ju Yan continued to pursue him, stopping his taxi. The cyclist snapped at her impatiently. The game of cat and mouse had begun, a vow for revenge and the twisted backstory. Ju Yan pleaded with the cyclist, explaining that he was the source of her nightmares. All she wanted was a single night of peaceful sleep. The cyclist, still clueless, told the driver to leave. As the taxi drove away, Ju Yan vowed to kill him, believing that would finally bring her peace. The cyclist, annoyed, wondered why she was bothering him about her sleep problems. He pondered how everything had become so complicated, tracing it back to a fateful encounter. After burying Sang Hun and Yu Jong, he had donned Sang Hun's jacket and glasses, driven back to Paju in Sang Hun's BMW, and switched to his own car. Meanwhile, Sang Hun's wife contacted Cheol Mok, inquiring about her husband's infidelity. Cheol Mok assured her they were gathering concrete evidence and would contact her soon. Just then, his employees returned, shaken by what they had witnessed. Not just infidelity, but murder. 10 hours before the fire, Jae Young had arranged to meet Gil Ryong for payment. As he prepared to leave, the cyclist arrived. They had met in prison. 6 months prior, upon the cyclist's release, Gil Ryong had given him his contact information for future jobs. Yu Jong had picked the cyclist up. Despite his conviction for fraud, he continued his deceitful ways. Yu Jong would lure wealthy men, and the cyclist would stage fake jealousy scenes, extorting money or capturing compromising photos and videos for blackmail. Gil Ryong had recruited the cyclist for the hit on Jae Young's father, and the cyclist had informed him about the actual 500 million won insurance payout. Coincidentally, the cyclist also knew Jae Young from their shared delinquent past. That Friday night, Jae Young's father confessed to a nun about his son's grave sins, expressing his desire to atone by donating everything to the church. The church volunteers had planned a surprise birthday party, but he declined, feeling uneasy. As he walked down the alley, the cyclist struck him with the car. Seeing he wasn't dead, he reversed and hit him again. When Gil Ryong got out to check, he saw a woman calling the police. He chased after her but failed to stop her. Jae Young's father was still alive, so they loaded him into the car and fled. Gil Ryong finished him off on the way. The intricate web of lies and betrayal had begun to unravel, leading to a fiery climax. At this point, Yu Jong calls. She's drugged Sang Hun and is waiting for him to arrive so she can film a compromising video to blackmail him. Meanwhile, a daring idea sparks in the witness's mind. He excitedly tells Gil Ryong to split up, assuring him that he'll handle the rest. Later, he calls Gil Ryong back and reveals his grand plan, promising even bigger profits. He buys another man's clothes and carries the body to a pedestrian bridge, waiting. He spots Sang Hun's car approaching from a distance, times it perfectly, and drops the body 6 hours before the fire incident. On the way to their meeting point, Gil Ryong scolds the witness for his sloppy work, complaining that he couldn't even bury a body without causing a commotion. The witness, perplexed, questions why Gil Ryong is so desperate to return to China when the situation isn't that critical yet. By this time, Officer Ji-hoon's body has been discovered. The police swiftly examine the news van's footage and obtain a clear image of the perpetrator's face. They raid Gil Ryong's garage, find his workplace, and discover a copy of Jae Young's father's ID. Elsewhere, Jae Young, being new to murder, is a bit apprehensive. The plan is for him to open the trunk, step out to grab the money, then return to the car and hand the bag to Gil Ryong. Once he's checking the bag, he'll attack. The whole process is supposed to take just 53 seconds, quick and clean. However, Gil Ryong does something that startles Jae Young. He tries to maintain his composure and gestures for him to get in the car. "What's so funny? Why are you laughing so much?" "Nothing, just thinking," he says nervously. He drives off, promising to hand over the money later. Unbeknownst to Jae Young, the witness has seen everything. As soon as Jae Young drives away, the witness tails him. The road from Paju to Guho has been blocked off by a police checkpoint. Gil Ryong is nervous and instinctively ducks her head. However, when the officer sees Jae Young, they wave him through, since the person they're actually looking for is the witness. Just as they drive away, sirens blare behind them. The police have discovered an abandoned BMW. The license plate matches Sang Hun's car. Officers in the area are immediately mobilized to pursue and apprehend the suspect. Jae Young drives Gil Ryong to the abandoned building in Guho. He still wants to renegotiate, but Gil Ryong refuses. He insists on receiving the money. Left with no other choice, Jae Young follows the plan. He opens the trunk, sets a 57-second timer, and returns to the car with a bag. Gil Ryong opens it to find it filled with junk. Meanwhile, Jae Young grips the hammer he'd stashed earlier. As soon as the timer goes off, he swings at Gil Ryong. Moments later, he's the one being brutally beaten about the head. "You think I didn't see you practicing, you idiot?" Gil Ryong is about to finish Jae Young off when the witness calls. He asks for their location so he can join them. Gil Ryong shoves Jae Young into the passenger seat and urges the witness to deal with this ungrateful brat. First, he promises they'll flee to China together once they have the money. But the area is completely locked down. They'd need to sprout wings to escape. Jae Young's groans attract the witness's attention. He realizes that he and Jae Young are roughly the same height. The witness's previously worried expression softens into a look of realization. He lets out a small, chilling laugh and launches a surprise attack, catching Gil Ryong completely off guard. He then kicks him down the elevator shaft, killing him instantly. When Jae Young wakes up, he finds himself tied to a chair. While he was unconscious, the witness switched their clothes. He's now wearing Jae Young's outfit and watch. "From now on, I'm you. I'm Jae Young," he declares. Watching the witness douse the place with gasoline, Jae Young is terrified, practically wetting himself. He begs for his life, offering the witness all the money he wants. But the witness is looking for a fresh start, and for that to happen, Jae Young can't be alive. So, any pleas are futile. The witness sets the room ablaze, not forgetting to give Gil Ryong's body one last kick. Finally, he flicks his lighter onto Jae Young, effectively cremating him. The witness walks away, but as he passes the elevator shaft, A gas explosion sends him flying. The fiery debris rains down on him, engulfing him in flames. This explains why the witness needed to assume Jae-young's identity. Earlier, when Ju-yeon was following the witness, Jong-min spotted her. She asks him if he's ever hated someone so much that he wanted to kill them. But when he asks if she's referring to Jae-young, she avoids the question, claiming she's just been in a bad mood lately, and her thoughts have been running wild. The witness enters Jae-young's apartment and memorizes his social security number. He'll be living under this identity from now on, so there are things he needs to learn. Ju-yeon opens her safe and retrieves a vial of fentanyl. She then calls Cheol-mak, telling him she transferred him 3 million won and needs a favor. The witness is awakened by a phone call from the insurance company. They inform him that his father's death benefit has been paid out. The witness almost shouts with joy, but his celebration is premature. The insurance agent explains that a week before his death, Jae-young's father changed the beneficiary from his son to the Guho Church. Furious, the witness heads to the church to confront them, threatening to burn the place down if no one comes out. Luckily for the church, a nun intercepts him. She explains that Jae-young's father specifically requested that his money be used for the church and the residents of the nursing home. Therefore, despite his pleas, she can't give him the money. It's the deceased's final wish. Furthermore, anticipating his son's reaction, Jae-young's father left behind a recorded message as evidence. At this moment, the witness realizes Ju-yeon is also present. Why do I keep seeing you around? Are you following me? You're crazy. What have I ever done to you? Just let it go and move on, okay? He pops a handful of pills and storms off. As for the insurance money, he'll figure out how to get it back later. However, he hasn't gone far when he starts feeling dizzy. Passing by an alley, he's involuntarily reminded of the events of that day. The witness wonders if the old man is haunting him. He turns around to see Ju-yeon walking behind him. Exhausted and overwhelmed, the witness confesses that he isn't Jae-young. He's dead. He insists, "Stop following me. I don't even know who you are." Then who was demanding Jae-young's father's insurance money at the church? Ju-yeon counters. The witness can't explain. He can't risk revealing he's a murderer. But the more he denies it, the more convinced Ju-yeon becomes that he is Jae-young and is just putting on an act. The drugs are taking full effect, and the witness is losing his grip on reality. The world spins, and he stumbles, collapsing into a pile of trash. Ju-yeon is about to attack when Jong-min stops her. He'd noticed her strange behavior and, after some digging, discovered the truth. He wants to protect her future. This man isn't worth throwing everything away for. Just leave, Ju-yeon, he pleads. Let go of your hatred and start over. Live a good life, Dr. Ju-yeon. Overcome with emotion, Ju-yeon unleashes a flurry of punches on the incapacitated witness, at least finding some release for her pent-up anger. When the witness comes to, they're gone. On the way back to Paju, Jong-min receives a phone call. The caller needs him urgently. When Ju-yeon asks, he says it's a sick relative. Relieved that she's calmed down, she tells him to go, assuring him that she'll be fine. While reviewing the case files, Detective Kang noticed a discrepancy between Jae-young's testimony, the location where he was found, and the location of the other victim. Something doesn't add up. Jae-young's description seems to match the deceased victim more closely. To clarify his suspicions, Detective Kang decides to visit Jae-young. Back at the apartment, the witness, now posing as Jae-young, is about to take a handful of painkillers when he notices the pills seem lighter in color than usual. Comparing them to another bottle, he realizes his medication has been switched. He figures the old man from the last encounter must have done it. That explains the dizziness earlier. Just then, Detective Kang calls, asking if he's home. Unsuspecting, the witness says yes. Detective Kang asks him to come down to the station for questioning as a witness. The witness stalls, saying it's late and he'll come in tomorrow. As soon as he hangs up, he gathers his belongings, stuffing Jae-young's identification documents into a bag, ready to flee. He spots a flyer for Guho High School admissions, with Ju-yeon's photo and name on it. He remembers that years ago, a jealous classmate had asked him for ideas on how to get back at Ju-yeon. Back then, fresh out of juvenile detention, the witness had been hesitant to get directly involved. But he had suggested the classmate offer Ju-yeon up to the boys at school, confident they'd swarm her like hungry dogs. He recognizes Ju-yeon as that same girl. By the time the police arrive, the witness has already escaped. Back at the abandoned BMW, Jae-young's DNA is found. Detective Kang decides to compare it to the DNA on the painkiller bottle to see if it's a match. What the witness doesn't know is that Jae-young was already living under a death sentence, figuratively speaking. The moment he assumed Jae-young's identity, he inherited that sentence. Jong Min sits by the road, waiting for a ride, when Ju Yan calls. He's unsure whether intervening and stopping her from killing the witness was the right thing to do. He just wanted her to be happy. The thought of his inability to truly help the woman he loves gnaws at him. He tells her to rest well, and promises to see her tomorrow. A car arrives, and Jong Min is driven to a heavily guarded warehouse. To pay for medical school and his wedding money, he's been performing illegal surgeries for a loan shark, the same one who lent money to Jae Young. He asks his boss if he can finish his work for the day and take a break. The boss readily agrees, saying they're friends and he can call on him for any favors in the future. Before leaving, the boss gives Jong Min a parting gift and some chilling instructions. Take everything usable, he says. Even if you let him live, they'll kill him anyway. Inside the warehouse, the witness is strapped to a table, struggling futilely against his restraints. Jong Min notices a familiar wound on the witness's hand. He removes the hood, and a look of grim recognition crosses his face. How did you end up in my hands, Mr. Jae Young? He asks, removing the gag. The witness frantically explains that there's been a mistake. He's not Jae Young, he's the witness. But Jong Min reminds him that he clearly claimed to be Jae Young earlier that day. The witness hesitates, unable to reveal the truth without incriminating himself. He says he has his reasons, begging to be untied so he can explain. That hesitation costs him his chance. Normally, Jong Min would use anesthesia, but driven by a desire to avenge his girlfriend, he intends to send the witness to hell via the most painful route possible. You know, he says, I feel like taking this side job was the right decision after all. Consider this our karmic connection. Do evil, and you'll face retribution. There's no escape. Ju Yan sleeps soundly that night, the first good night's sleep she's had in years. Before leaving, Jong Min had reassured her that everything would be okay from now on. He promised it. Ju Yan meets Cheol Mok in the hospital lobby. He's there scouting potential clients, and gives her an update on the task she'd asked him to perform. But she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't need to know anymore. Cheol Mok is relieved to see that she's finally letting go of the past. He hands her an envelope containing the DNA results, confirming that the Jae Young she encountered wasn't the man she knew. But it doesn't matter anymore. Jong Min opens his boss's gift to reveal a Rolex watch. He stares at it pensively, his thoughts unclear. As for Ju Yan, she can finally walk forward with confidence. And that concludes our video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.